Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Imagine if you could create money just by writing a check. That is, if you needed $1,000, you could take out your checkbook and write a check for $1,000, and suddenly the money would be there. Money that did not exist before. Imagine the freedom that you would have, and imagine the possibilities for abusing this power. Tonight I'm going to tell you a little bit about the key feature of our banking system and how it really works. This is contrary to what most people believe about how banks operate, so that is where I'm going to start. Now let me describe a common belief about how banks work. A bank opens and they advertise that they will pay interest on savings accounts. And they will also allow checking accounts, so you can pay your bills, whatever, go out to the restaurant, that sort of thing. People come rushing in, deposit their money in the savings accounts, and then the checking accounts, and now the bank has money to lend. The next thing the bank does is they advertise that it will make loans for various purposes. For buying houses, cars, business loans, they'll do home equity loans, unsecured personal loans, whatever. You name it, they've got money to lend. And where does the bank get the money to lend? In this scenario, from deposits. All right, the bank lends out the money that was deposited into the savings and checking accounts. You could be forgiven if you think that this is the way the banks operate. This is the way that our money system is designed, and you are supposed to believe this. The reality is that that scenario only accounts for a small percent, about 10% of bank lending. And that is not how a bank works. It's because of the system that we have called fractional reserve banking, where the banks can create money equal to 10 times their actual reserves, or 10 times their actual deposits, and lend that money out and charge interest. So here's how it really works. When a bank gets a $100 in deposits, it can make $90 worth of loans. It has to keep that extra $10 there as reserves, right? But the loan that the person gets, they actually take somewhere, they're going to buy something with it, whether they're buying a house or a car, and the person that sells that house or the car takes that $90 and they deposit it in their bank. So now there's a $90 deposit, could be at the same bank, in fact, or it could be at another bank. And so the bank can lend out 90% of that $90, or $81. So as you can see already, from the initial deposit of $100, there are already 2 loans that add up to $171. And this figure is going to grow as that process repeats itself. So the person that borrowed $81 can take that, they're going to deposit it somewhere else, and then from that deposit, their bank, which could be still the same bank, can lend out 90% of that, or about $72. It's $72.90. Anyway, as this process repeats, the amount of money that the bank lends out is always 10% of, is 90% of the deposit that it has. And the amount is shrinking. It gets to a smaller and smaller number, but the total amount of loans that can be made this way is going to be very close to $1,000. And it's all from a $100 deposit. The process of borrowing money really consists of an exchange. You promise to pay back money from the bank on a certain schedule and pay the bank interest, right? And the bank adds to your account or credits your account with the amount that you borrowed. That's the exchange. And the key to this process is that the money did not exist until you borrowed it. That the bank created the money in the process of lending it to you. It was one and the same process. Now, let me demonstrate how this works. Before tonight's meeting, Judy, who was feeling a little apprehensive about carrying around her gold coin, asked me if I would hold on to her gold coin for safekeeping. She'd heard I was interested in banking. And I said, sure, Judy, we're friends, we've known each other for a long time. You know, I'm a trustworthy person. So I'm holding on to Judy's gold coin. And in fact, I am going to give Judy right now a receipt for 1 gold coin. And it's too small to read, but Judy can read it. It says, receipt for 1 gold coin, also known as money, issued by the really big bank. Well, let's just say I'm the really big bank. And it's got today's date, and it says, God bless America on there. That's actually an important part of it. Now, Judy can take that at any time and bring it back in and say, I want my gold coin back. and we'll exchange it. You get your gold coin, and I get that note back. So that receipt is really like money. In fact, it is money. Because you could take it to a store and buy something with it, and the owner of the store knows very well that they could bring it in and redeem that gold coin too, right? Now, here's where some sleight of hand comes into play. I know that I could create probably 9 more receipts just like that and lend this money out to other people. And there doesn't have to be 9 other gold coins, because I know from experience that the chances are that only one of these receipts of equal value is going to be called back in exchange for that gold coin. I learned this by being in the banking business for a long time. And so, for instance, if Charles wanted to borrow some money for a house, what you could do, I've prepared this little document, and it says, I owe you 1 gold coin plus 5% interest, and if you'll put your name on there and return it to me, I've got a pen somewhere, right? Then I'm going to give Charles, in exchange for that IOU, another receipt for a gold coin, which is just like the one that I gave Judy. And so this is the process of lending. There it is. Here's your money. And now I've got an IOU. Now I know this is valuable because he's got very good credit, and you can count on the fact that he's going to pay me back, right? Now, I can repeat this process under the fractional reserve banking system, actually, how many times? 9 times, exactly. And yet, and what's to prevent me from doing this over and over and over again, like 50 times? Well, based on experience, I know that the odds are that about 1 out of every 10 of those notes or bills is going to be redeemed. And if I had made like 50 loans instead of just 10, then once I've returned the gold coin to the first person, suppose it was Judy, then the next person that comes back in and says, well, I'm trading my note in for a gold coin, I would have to say, I'm sorry, I don't have it. And that would be very bad for business. Nobody would really deposit their money with the really big bank anymore, and I'd be in deep trouble. I'd be out of business. So that is, in a nutshell, is how the fractional reserve banking system works. I have to read you one simple quote. It's from a document from the Chicago Federal Reserve from 1961, and it's called Modern Money Mechanics, and it says, banks do not really pay out loans from the money they receive as deposits. If they did this, no additional money would be created. What they do when they make loans is to accept promissory notes, such as what Charles gave me, in exchange for credits to the borrower's transaction accounts, such as these receipts that I've given to Charles and Judy. The deposit credits constitute new additions to the total deposits of the banking system. And that is how banks make money. Madam Toastmaster.
I want to go for it down.
Yes. I'll have that for you tomorrow.
Would everybody please take 1 minute to let Mark know